Yes, I'm having more help today with my posters. One lazy dog, you can see how useful he is, and the cat's just run away. So I just wanted to bring up again some of the issues that we're fighting for, really some of the reforms that we're looking for. So, one of the main ones that I encountered was that there wasn't a connection in services. So if you need medical treatment for your eating disorder, you're stuck in a general hospital or a children's hospital to get an NG tube or fluids or whatever you need, but then you don't have the psychiatric care while you're in the general hospital. And then the opposite as well, vice versa. If you're in a psychiatric facility or maybe receiving outpatient care and you need some medical stabilization, then you have to be transferred to the hospital. So there's no kind of linked thinking there in services. They're two very separate things. So instead of treating disorders like anorexia as one, because it is a mind and a body issue, they're being treated separately, which is, in my opinion, very detrimental to recovery to treat each piece of the disorder separately instead of holistically. One of the other issues, of course, is the long CAMHS waitlists. By the time people are actually seen from the waitlists, it's too late. Like many of these disorders have already taken hold by then, and so it's really early intervention really is key to treat these illnesses before they really take a hold of somebody. Also, as mentioned before, another big issue is catchment area restrictions. So if you don't live in a certain area, then basically you're not really entitled to treatment. So if you need a facility that offers NG feeding, which is only Lindera and only Merlin Park in Galway, so Dublin and Galway, and if you don't live in their catchment areas, there's nowhere else in the country that will facilitate NG feeding. So if you're not lucky enough to live there, you can't get NG feeding. So you're stuck going back and forth between inpatient units and a general hospital to receive treatment. Another big issue is the lack of staffing. So that's something that the government really needs to address, is what can be done to hire and retain specialized staff for eating disorders. They are very complex illnesses, and so it does require very specialized trained staff. So that's something that's extremely important for recovery, because when nurses or practitioners say things that are very triggering to somebody with an eating disorder, it does not help with the recovery. And it's not their fault, it's just that they're not really properly trained. Not everybody is trained in eating disorders. So really specialists are needed to be hired and retained. One issue I've encountered as well is that I found very little support between my daughter's transition between inpatient care and home. So the support wasn't significant. There wasn't immediate therapy. A lot of it involved taking weights and vitals, which kind of set back her treatment. So that's one thing that would be better too, is a bit of extra support for families and for people suffering with eating disorders. This issue was also raised to me by someone else I was talking to. Their experience was with somebody who was an adult in eating disorder services, and a lot of people there have found that the transition from adolescent services into adult services was extremely difficult, that there really wasn't a lot of care there. There weren't enough specialists there, and same issues really as treating children, that some of the treatments are so little, like it's almost really non-existent. And of course, ultimately, what I would absolutely love to see would be a few specialized eating disorder centers. So instead of having, somebody go to a medical facility and then go to an inpatient unit and then go to a medical facility and then go outpatient and then go to a medical facility, it's so unnecessary to bounce around to all these different facilities, but that's the way that it currently stands treatment-wise. That's the way treatment operates, is, like I said before, it's treated separately, the mind and the body. So ultimately, I would love to see some specialist eating disorder centers in the country where it's a medical facility, but it's also a psychiatric facility, so that you can have both treatment of your body and mind together, treating eating disorders as a holistic um, problem. Really, is the body and mind together. They need to be treated together because it is a disorder where it's two in one, and it should be treated as two in one. So hopefully we can see some of these changes taking place. So again, I would like to invite you to join us for this peaceful protest. We're going to be gathering outside the front of Department of Health at 10 o'clock this Friday, the 17th of November. And then that's going to be followed by a march over to Leinster House. So we'll just have our signs and posters ready. And then I have a few quotes to read from different stories from families and their experiences and the struggles that we've had trying to access care for our loved ones. Thank you.